So this is part two of the series I'm doing on understanding what democracy is and how people actually have the power to self-govern, the difference between the system we've never been allowed to experience, because if we did, we wouldn't be forced into all these abject conditions, and what knowledge you've been told is democracy and how you believe you have control over government and how you've been hoodwinked. So all these people that keep coming up with, follow the law, you don't know the law, et cetera, you're going to have a really hard time actually debating this because there's actual evidence of all of everything I'm putting here, if you choose to look for it. The difference is most people don't, and then they just go on their beliefs. But the funny part is when you ask them, because what I've been doing is I've been asking people a series of questions. Everyone gets on and starts attacking. I've asked them a series of 13 questions. They haven't been able to answer one. They can't even tell the difference between consensus and objective truth. They can't even answer that question. That's the first one, right? So many people think that consensus is truth, and it's not. Because if you've got a bunch of people who are ignorant and they all agree, how does that actually line up with something that's objective and everyone can discover? It just doesn't. And the majority of the people are ignorant. And if you haven't listened to the videos up to this point, ignorance means the willful refusal of objective truth. And so all this sovereign citizen stuff that's been coming out, the classic example is, you'll see these policy enforcement agents, which people think are actually public servants, but they're not, ripping out people's windows and harming them. The people I've been showing in this video have been literally being violated by police, physically violated, right? They actually believe that is what a system of service would look like. You think about that, it's an inversion of reality. If we were actually in charge of our decisions, that affect our daily lives, would we be allowing people to be like hurting us just because they have a different opinion to us? Where there's no actual universal discovery of truth together and launched in a way we can all verify it's true, as opposed to just listening to people on a television because they've got a title that we've never met, we don't know the quality of their character, so we don't have a personal experience of them, and we're just supposed to believe them. That kind of level of credulity is what's called consensus, and that's what counts as truth, because it's safe to be in that space, right? Because you guys all know what it's like to hear attacks, personal attacks, because every single one of you who launches it have felt that, right? How debilitating that is. So what do? You go into where it's safe, where you can launch from, where the majority are. And then when you do that, that's when you feel safe and you get to be righteous, so then you get to be, in that space where there's no challenging me because I'm with the majority. That's what consensus is. And explain how that is truth. So let's listen to him say democracy again.
We are a proud liberal democracy.
There you go. He says proud liberal democracy. So we're going to go into it a little bit deeper, shall we? Okay. So now, this is Will Keat. He's been specializing in this kind of knowledge for years. And this is one of the things he's going to talk about that's actually there on the public record. And you can choose to refuse it if you like, or you can choose to investigate. That's your call.
Actually, what I might do, I'll just read this to you, actually, which is quite interesting. It comes from Lysander Spooner, an essay on the Constitution that he wrote in 1852. He was an American lawyer, but the United States system of constitutional law actually functions on the same framework, on the same foundation, and he expresses it beautifully. So the authority.
So just before we go ahead, all you people are going to say he's British, he's from England, it's got nothing to do with us here in Australia. First, you need to answer what a constitutional monarchy is and how we can run a separate system of governance to England when the head of state is in England. Think about that. Really think about that. How can that be separate? So whatever he says here applies here because we're running under the same structure because we're a constitutional monarchy. There's no monarchy here in Australia, even though they tried to pull one off, by calling it the Queen of Australia. There is no such thing. There's only one. That's the system of governance we are under as a Commonwealth nation. You can deny all that all you like. That's a fact that can be verified. It's just whether you're willing to verify it. So everything he says here applies here to us in Australia.
To judge what are the powers of the government and what are the liberties of the people must necessarily be vested in one or other of the parties themselves, the government or the people. because there is no third party to whom it can be entrusted. If the authority be invested in the government is absolute, and the people have no liberties, except such as the government sees fit to indulge them with. If, on the other hand, that authority be vested in the people, then the people have all liberties, as against the government, except such as substantially the whole people through the jury choose to disclaim, and the government can exercise no power except such as substantially the whole people through the jury consent that it may exercise.
Wow.
So he's saying...
There's your government by consent right there. That's how we grant consent to anything that government offers us. It's done like that. Really simple, guys. So let's listen on.
It's one or the other. You can't have a middle position here.
And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Because as you said, there's no extra, or as he said, there's no third party. So which way does it go? And it seems to make complete sense when you've read it in that very concise statement that it has to be the people, because the people put the government there to begin with.
Yes.
So there you have it, guys. Think about that logic. Really think about that. So we're going to come back and I'm going to show you what's in that constitution that you all really love. So here we go. This is that constitution that everyone believes is our rightful constitution, and it's about common law. And then all those people who think common law is some kind of crazy thing that people invented don't understand. It's all about common law is all how we express our understanding of morality. That's all it means. It's really simple. It's how we express it. We do it day to day in our interactions. When it goes well, everything goes smoothly. When it goes poorly, there's violence. It's that simple. It's not complex. Law is not complicated. Everyone who believes it's complicated is not talking about law, but a construct of someone's mind that they're trying to get you to believe is law. And that's what most of you are quoting when you're saying, learn the law. You have no clues about what it truly means. No one has more intelligence than the other. We all know what's just and what's unjust. It's really that simple. So let's read what it says. Think about what he said earlier, right? Either the power resides in the people to judge the fairness of the legislation, or it resides with the government. There's no third party. So let's have a look who gave themselves the power. Chapter 3, the judicature. The judicial power of the Commonwealth shall be vested in a federal Supreme Court, to be called the High Court of Australia, and in such other federal courts as Parliament creates. Now tell me what that word Parliament creates means. It's right there in black and white. Are you going to create another invention of what that means? And in such other courts as it invents with federal jurisdiction. Now, who knows what that word truly means, jurisdiction? I challenge you to tell me what it means. The High Court shall consist of a Chief Justice and so many other justices, no less than 2, as the Parliament prescribes. So right there, government has made itself the final authority of its own legislation. And if they are enforcing their own legislation, you are living under dictatorship. So all those images of being harmed by the police, because the police believe that they're actually in service to the government, does it now start to make sense why they do what they're told? So you just got to think about that really carefully as to what's really happening. So we might just finish off on a bit of footage about what it looks like to have a government that has its own power to punish. Remember, if the people were in charge, would police be doing this? Have a real proper think about it.
Stability, rising living standards, and so much more. Australia's actions are guided by our belief in the inherent dignity of all people, everywhere, no matter the circumstances. Mr. President, we learned through the pandemic that every moment of challenge requires us to think anew, to engage with each other, to learn as you go. It is an experience understood by many others. And so we will continue to meet this moment with dialogue.
There you go, shooting at the very people they swear an oath to protect and serve. That's what you guys call democracy. That's your answer.